Second down, 3. Giants ball in the Houston 44. We're approaching 3 minutes remaining in the third period. 87 yards for Johnson and 21 carries. Again, breaks away. Oh, miraculous balance. The balance of this man is unbelievable. You can't seem to knock him down.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. I saw an article, I believe it was from Next Gen Stats, and they have Daniel Jones as the best deep ball thrower in the National Football League. They have a stat that they have. It's the dreaded CPOE stat, which stands for completion percentage over expectation. So basically what they'll do is they'll have, they'll take what his completion percentage is, and then they'll factor in, okay, a few different things, which you know, I mean, to come up with this kind of stat, you know, it makes some sense. The stat is determined by the like pressure on any given, you know, play that the quarterback's throwing the ball down deep, how much time he has to throw the ball, how far the ball is being thrown, the separation, you know, between the defender and the wide receiver. And then they come up with like an expectation of, you know, what his completion percentage should be. And then they take it and they'll compare it to what it actually is. And then I guess they subtract the two numbers and they come up with, you know, Daniel Jones, his CPOE for last year was 14.8%, which was the best. Derek Carr was 14.5%. He was second best. Daniel Jones, in 2019, his CPOE was a minus 4.9%. Now, that's an increase of 19.7 percentage points. That's pretty good. Now, that means like what he was expected to complete in 2019 was, you know, was not what it was supposed to be. But what he did last year was pretty remarkable. His quarterback rating was 134.3 on deep throws. His completion percentage was 48.7 on deep throws. Now that's fourth best in the league. Now, Pro Football Focus, they got their grade, you know, Next Gen Stats, they got theirs, you know. So they're a little different. I mean, I'm not exactly sure, you know, what they consider deep throws, because with Pro Football Focus, their deep throws are anything 20 yards or farther. Now, Pro Football Focus had him throwing 43 attempts on deep ball throws, and he had 6 touchdowns. Next Gen Stats said he only threw 39 long passes, and he only had 5 touchdowns. So I'm not sure where the discrepancy is. Somewhere along the line, there's 4 passes that Next Gen Stats thought wasn't quite a deep pass, and Pro Football Focus did think it was, but whatever. But I mean, that's pretty impressive. Now, just to go to show you, it's this stat, CPOE, the completion percentage over expectation. It hurts some quarterbacks. Now, like Patrick Mahomes, he wasn't in the top 10. Wasn't even close to being in the top 10. Why? Well, because I said it's the completion percentage is what the expectation of the completion percentage is factored in by pressure. You know, with Patrick Mahomes, you know, and also time to throw. Now, if you're standing in a pocket and you have plenty of time to throw, that's going to hurt you. If you're going back to pass, a lot of teams may not want to blitz the Chiefs. Because if Patrick Mahomes can get the ball out, especially to Tyreek Hill, and you're blitzing, Tyreek Hill might be off to the races, So some of the guys, it actually hurts. And almost everything helps Daniel Jones. Because it takes into account pressure. Well, Daniel Jones was pressured the second most of any quarterback. Time to throw. Daniel Jones had pressure. The offensive line was not always holding up their end of the bargain, especially in passing. So Daniel Jones probably didn't have a lot of time to throw in many situations. And also takes into account the separation between the wide receiver and the defender. Now Darius Slayton, he had a problem with his foot. Wasn't going to get a lot of separation. So it was a lot of times Daniel Jones threw the ball, and there wasn't much separation. So the wide receiver had to go up and get it. Also, which brings me to my next point, which is Kenny Golladay. Just throw the ball, and contested catches, he's really good. So with him, you don't necessarily need a lot of separation. But then it also brings me to John Ross. Now, speed. Right? He can possibly get some separation. Now, hopefully it was Darius Slayton. Hopefully his foot's okay, and he's back to the way he was in 2019, his rookie season. He can help maybe take the top off the defense as well. So Daniel Jones might get even a little bit better this year coming up. Now, last year, he was really, really phenomenal last year. Actually, 2019, his Pro Football Focus grade for deep throws down the center of the field was a 97 out of 100. Phenomenal. So, he has, he matched that once again this past year in 2020. His throws to the outside weren't quite as good as what they were in 2019. They weren't quite as good as what they were in 2020. His deep throws, but his throws down the center are absolutely phenomenal. In 2019, his deep throws down the center, Pro Football Focus was 97 grade. He had 4 touchdown passes, and he had 0 interceptions. So down the middle, he is deadly. It's the same thing this past season. Actually, on all of his deep throws, he had 6. This 2020, he had 6 touchdown passes, no interceptions this year. 2019, he had 9 touchdown passes on his deep throws, but he had 4 interceptions. So he cleaned those interceptions up. No interceptions in 2020 on the deep throws, and he had 6 touchdown passes. He had 1 touchdown deep left, he had 1 touchdown deep right, and he had 4 deep down the center. His grade, Pro Football Focus grade, deep left was a 73.9. He had 1 touchdown, no interceptions. However, he had 2 drop balls. He completed 4 passes out of 15, but he should have been 6 out of 15. So his 73.9, that grade would have came up definitely if he didn't have those 2 drop balls. His Pro Football Focus grade down the center from last year, deep down the center, is a 92.3, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I said in 2019, his deep passes down the center, 20 yards or more, his Pro Football Focus was a 97, so he is deadly down the center deep. So, hopefully between Slayton, Ross, and Kenny Golladay, boy, we might be looking good this year. His last year, his passes to the deep right was his Pro Football Focus grade was a 96.7. Very, very good. He had 1 touchdown to the right, and he had no interceptions. So he was very, very good to the right. The thing that concerned me a little bit is that he seemed to take a little step back on the intermediate throws from 10 to 19 yards. Now, I don't know if that was maybe because, the play calling, Pat Shurmur compared to, Jason Garrett's play calling. Now, his intermediate passing last year, his Pro Football Focus grade from 10 yards to 19 yards, right down the center, his Pro Football Focus grade was a 92. He completed 69.8% of his passes. He didn't throw any touchdowns, but he didn't throw any interceptions either. So down the center from 10 to 19 yards, he was good. And on his deep throws down the center, he's deadly. The thing is last year, they said, I'm not sure if it's the play calling or exactly what. I mean, it's not like he had a whole bunch of, he had Slayton both years. He had Shepard both years. He had Evan Ingram both years. He had, Golden Tate both years. So, we had some guys, but when Shurmur was calling the plays, his intermediate throws to the outside were a lot better than they were last year. Last year, his intermediate throws to the left, his Pro Football Focus grade was a 54.4. His completion percentage was 47.1. Intermediate to the left. He threw 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. So he needs to clean that up. I'm not exactly sure what that is, play calling or what, but then his intermediate throws to the right. His Pro Football Focus grade was a 47.1. His completion percentage was a 47.6. From 10 yards to 19 yards to the right. He threw 2 interceptions over there as well, and no touchdowns. So last year, his intermediate passes, he threw 4 interceptions and not 1 touchdown. So he needs to clean that up. Yeah, in the center, his completion percentage is very good, but I'm not sure what it is out there. As I said, the timing, is the play calling, what it is, but they gotta do a better job at that. Like I said, but his deep throws are phenomenal. As I said, you can tell by what the next gen, the stats. Very, very impressive. 2019, he was a minus 4.9, and he went from a minus 4.9 to a plus 14.8, a jump of 19.7 percentage points. I'll tell you what, guys, if he can start getting a better handle on this offense, if everybody can do a little bit better, the offensive line do a little better, get Saquon back, get the wide receivers, getting a little bit better. With the guys we brought in and all, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a pretty special year for Danny Dimes. Well, as always, people, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there, and go Giants! Woo!